name is Polina Gazeva, and I'm an artist living and working in Berlin. And I'm finally back home, and now I can actually start a new painting. I feel quite excited. I feel this little oof, I wonder what it's gonna be like. When I got back home 2 days ago, I came in my bedroom and I saw the painting that I left, my last painting that I made. And I got really happy because I saw it again with fresh eyes, and I realized just how much I like it and how good I feel about it and how good I feel about myself. And now I'm excited to start a new big painting. And that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. And before I start the new painting, I need to actually prepare the canvas. And to do that, I'm going to take my old painting and take off the painting of the frames and stretch new cloth on the frame. On the frame. I'm gonna show you the old painting that I'm gonna use. Here this, I don't know if you can see it right. Okay, so I realized the piece of cloth that I have is actually smaller than the painting. I could buy new cloth, which I will have to do eventually anyway, but I'm kind of also too lazy and I don't really have that much time next week or this week. So I'm just gonna still use this, and which means I'm gonna have a piece of frame showing, so the cloth is not gonna go all the way over the frame. I don't know if that's gonna work. I feel like if it does, it might add a bit of spark to the painting. I think it might add something to the painting. And if it doesn't, that's unfortunate, but it's also fixable. So this is a pretty significant painting for me. It's from around 6 years ago. And I painted during the time when I, for the first time, moved in by myself. I moved into a new apartment, all alone, and I was very excited, and I was appreciating that chance a lot, and I was appreciating that time a lot, and I enjoyed finally having my own space. And then I also started living with my dog there. It's my family's dog, and we had him for a while. And I was finally able to take him with me and just live by myself with my dog. And I felt like an adult, I guess. Finally, I was solely responsible for myself and even a whole other being. And it was nice, and I didn't have much furniture. I only had a couch and a table, and I really enjoyed that couch and the table. So that's why you can see there's a turned over couch in the painting. And I actually painted and drew couches quite a lot during that period. I think I had to process something. So what I think I'm gonna do is put red strings all over this part. Like maybe I'm gonna connect the cloth, the fabric to the frame somehow. Make it some sort of like a spider web, but not a spider web. Yeah, I think that's, I'm gonna try that. I don't know if this is gonna be the top of the painting or the bottom of the painting, but I think it's gonna work either way. And I wanna do it before I actually paint, because otherwise it's kind of hard to poke the needle through the cloth. I think it's gonna be easier now. Okay, so I'm gonna do something that I usually don't do. Okay, so this is paper that my friend brought me from Japan. The same friend that brought me the sketchbook. And I'm gonna use some of it now to do something like a study for the painting. I don't know why I'm doing it, I just felt like it. I think it's gonna be nice to do a study for some reason. Like, I never do it, sometimes a sketch, and it's gonna be basically a sketch, just a bit bigger. And I'm gonna do it with charcoal, I think. While the main painting is not gonna be in charcoal. I think the main painting is gonna be kind of similar material-wise as the last one. I'm thinking of combining, again, oil and charcoal, and maybe some ink as well, again. My friend told me that it would be interesting probably to hear why I choose the materials that I choose for my paintings. Like, how does it work? What do I base it on? And it's, again, one of those questions where I can't really answer it. It's like, I've been trying to think about it more. And I think it's based on several things. First thing is just what I feel like doing, because working with different materials implies different kind of work. Working with oil usually implies, okay, it's going to take longer, it's going to be maybe more precise, more detailed, and it's just a more careful process a little bit. And then, for example, something like charcoal, it's faster, it's easier in a way, and then, well, the materials kind of also define what your painting is going to look like, or what your painting is going to feel like, obviously, right? So if you use charcoal, and also depends on how you use it, but in the way that I use it, when I use charcoal, it's more of a sketchy look, it's more of a light painting, a more unfinished, kind of flowy vibe, than just an oil painting. Oil paintings, for me, mostly tend to feel a bit heavier. And while that is fine, that's still not something I want to do for this painting. So yeah, I think this painting, I don't know yet. I don't want to say anything right now, because it's obviously going to turn out the way it turns out. But I am thinking of making it similar to my last painting, because I really enjoyed the combination of the materials that I had. And I really enjoyed that combination of heavy parts and very light parts. So I think that's what I'm gonna be going for, and from there we'll see where it takes me. Something I've been thinking about a lot and wanting to voice a lot, but I never did because it feels like such a big topic that maybe it requires a bit more preparation or a separate video, because I don't know if I can just explain it so easily on a whim. But I will try. I will just bring it up because it's been like sitting in my head, and it's nothing groundbreaking and nothing huge, but it's just rotting in my brain, and I feel like I have to put it out so I can leave it for a bit. And that is that being depressed or being in pain, in any kind of mental pain, emotional pain, is not good for your art. I think a lot of people have this belief that great art requires trauma and pain, And to be a good artist, you have to be kind of messed up. And to some extent, it's unfortunately true. Even if you look at the very known artists, like most of them were something. And a lot of them had substance abuse and a bunch of mental illnesses and were not very happy people, I guess I would say. So you often get this idea, okay, to actually make good art, it has to come from pain, it has to come from suffering. And again, to some extent, yes, that's true, because I think a lot of people turn to art to deal with the trauma, to deal with pain, and art has enormous power to actually help with that, to help people process it, to help people understand it. And it's absolutely beautiful what art can do. And I think that leads to the stereotype of a tortured artist, of a suffering artist. And again, while yes, having something deep inside of you may trigger some really good artworks and some really good shit, because it's going to be honest and it's going to be emotional and it's going to have to come out of you one way or another, right? It's also actually not exactly like this. First, I think everyone has some pain. Everyone has some trauma. I don't know anyone who doesn't have it. So you don't have to actively still be in pain all the time to continue making good art. You can also tap into that if that's what you want, if that's what you want your art to come from, or if you think this is the best art that you make comes from some kind of intense emotions, you can always tap into that. But also, actually, the point that I wanted to make is very different. Wait, give me a second. And that is that to be an artist nowadays, I feel like you must be okay. Otherwise, the amount of stuff that you have to do will get so overwhelming and so unmanageable that you will never be able to do it. For many people, not for everyone, it's very different. Everyone has very different experience and everyone wants different things from their art career. And let's say you're not an artist who has someone organizing everything for them, right? So you're an artist who still has to organize their own exhibitions or apply to open calls and apply to exhibitions and, I don't know, post on social media or anything. Anything like that. There are 1,000 things an artist can / needs to do to be an artist, or to not to be an artist, but to build a career, quote unquote, if they want to bring it out there somehow, right? There are different things you can do, but there are a lot of things that usually need to be done. Simply put, and when you're depressed, it all feels so overwhelming that's almost impossible to actually do. Managing all of these things on top of being depressed or on top of being anxious is so fucking difficult. I just remember how only like a couple of years ago, even writing an email to me felt overwhelming. Like I had occasions when I would burst into tears because I couldn't bring myself to write an email because it felt like such a hard thing to do. And imagine everything makes you feel that way, but you also feel like you should be building your career, which requires like 1,000 things like this all the time. Like, that's very difficult. Or, for example, I don't know where I'm going with these YouTube videos, but I am making them and I'm enjoying making them. And this is why I think it's going to work out to bring me somewhere. Or if it doesn't, it's still the process itself is very good for me. But even a year ago, I couldn't have pictured myself actually making YouTube videos because the amount of work it requires, just one video, the amount of tiny steps, but like 1,000 tiny steps it requires, would feel so overwhelming and would feel so impossible that I couldn't even imagine being able to do it. And now, only after I dealt with more things, only after I got some of my energy back, was I actually able to even picture the idea of like, I could actually be making YouTube videos, because actually I really enjoy video making and I always did. So it only makes sense for me to actually upload videos to YouTube. But yeah, and I don't know. So my point is, if you're not doing a lot for your art career right now, or if just the idea of doing what you think you need to do for your art career is overwhelming and feels like too much and feels impossible, maybe it's not because it is actually impossible for you. Maybe it's not because it's actually too much, even though it is a lot. But maybe partially the reason it feels like that because general anxiety that you have, or depression, or other mental stuff going on, maybe other things in your life that overwhelm you. And I think knowing that is a great help already, because that can bring some peace to that. It can bring some acceptance to the fact, okay, maybe I'm not doing that much right now, but it does not mean it's not going to change. Because again, a year ago, I couldn't have imagined, even though I've always been making videos, I've always had this skill of making, not always, but a long time, I had the skill of making videos, and I had the ideas. I could, just the thought of actually having a YouTube channel would drive me insane, and I would like cry, and I would be like, well, that's obviously impossible because it's just so much work. It felt like a mountain that I had to climb backwards. And now that I'm not as anxious about most of the stuff, I'm still dealing with anxiety, but it's not about this specific topic here. It's other things, but it's overall getting better. Now that I'm more okay, I realize, okay, it's not actually a mountain, because I'm actually able to just see it step by step. And I'm actually feeling okay about doing the things, because the things that it requires don't feel overwhelming and they don't feel very hard anymore. And it's not because the things have changed, it's because my mind has changed. I used to do my Instagram much more, but I stopped, and for about half a year I didn't really do anything for Instagram, and I took a break because I realized nothing of what I do feels right, and also doesn't feel like it's bringing anything, so I'm gonna just stop and see what happens. And I stopped, and I felt lighter, and I felt better, and then I was like, I could be making YouTube videos. So now I'm making YouTube videos, and I actually feel good about making them, and I feel like even if I don't get a lot of views, I'm like, it's still really nice, actually. I'm still actually really enjoying the process. I'm still actually going to do more. I can still actually do it because I want to do it. And because even though it's a lot of work, it's so much work, it's still nice. So yeah, what I wanted to say is that while yes, art often does come from some kind of suffering, it's also fucking unrealistic to expect yourself to be depressed and anxious and overwhelmed and just sad, and also be like producing amazing work, and also on top of that be doing like marketing and applying to things and uploading things and being public. Like, it's a lot, and it's kind of stupid to expect yourself to be able to do all of that. I don't think artists need to be suffering, because only a very small % of people can sustain that. But then the question is, do you want to be in pain for your art? Is it worth living your life feeling like shit all the time to make great art? And some people might argue that yes, and I can also see where that's coming from, and I think I used to be like that too. But also, again, now I realize I don't actually have to be suffering anymore to make amazing art. Please talk. Please talk to me back. You can write comments and I will read them. And maybe if there's something interesting, I will bring it up more in the next video. Okay, so obviously the painting is not finished yet. This is just the very, very beginning of it. It's gonna take me some time, and I'm sorry I'm not providing you the satisfaction of seeing the final result in this video. You will just have to be a little bit patient about it. And hopefully, if you behave well, we're gonna see the result in the next video. I'm right now at this stage of like, oh, I don't know exactly if this is going to work out. It usually does. So let's cross our fingers and hope. And I mean, if it doesn't, then that's just how it is. But I think eventually, right? If I give it enough time. Yeah, the painting is going to take me a moment because I'm working with oil. So it's taking its sweet time to dry. I am even thinking of making 2 paintings at the same time, just so that I don't have to wait for like days to continue working. I've never done that, so we'll see. I found this canvas. I found this painting in the street. So I picked it up and I brought it home. And it's like 2 meter long, narrow canvas. Not something I usually do, not something I've ever done, but maybe. I don't know, maybe you guys don't pick up trash in the street, but that's what we do in Berlin. Oh, I also created a Patreon page, so you can be the first person to support me on my Patreon. That would be kind of hot. Yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully see you in the next video. Stay healthy, stay calm and peaceful, and continue making art, or start making art, and give it all you have, and see what happens. Okay, that's it. Bye-bye.